Most readers pass over this detail without noticing it. Not because it is hidden, but because it appears quietly, woven into the text. It does not announce itself. It does not demand attention. Yet it appears again and again across different passages, separated by centuries, authors, and genres. It is a subtle echo, a whisper that travels through the corridors of these ancient writings. To find it, one must learn to listen not for the loud proclamations, but for the quiet consistencies, the patterns that emerge from the background. It is a thread so fine that it is easily missed in a casual reading, yet so strong that it binds disparate narratives into a more coherent whole. Its power lies not in its prominence, but in its persistence. It asks for a different kind of attention, one that is patient and observant, willing to trace a faint line through a vast and complex landscape of words and ideas. Some details in biblical writings function less like statements and more like connective threads, linking ideas across time. They are not doctrines or commands, but recurring motifs, images, or even simple phrases that build a network of meaning beneath the surface of the primary narrative. Think of them as architectural elements in a grand cathedral. You might not notice the specific shape of a single stone arch at first, but as you walk through the space, you begin to see that same shape repeated in windows, doorways, and ceilings. This repetition creates a sense of unity and harmony. It tells you that every part of the structure is related, designed with a common purpose in mind. In the same way, these textual threads suggest that the various books and stories, though written in different historical contexts, are part of a larger, interconnected conversation. They invite the reader to move beyond individual passages and consider the entire tapestry. Ancient authors often relied on repetition and structure to guide understanding. In a world where most people experience texts by hearing them read aloud rather than by reading them silently, mnemonic devices and recurring patterns were essential. They helped the listener to hold vast amounts of information in their mind and to see the connections between different parts of a long and complex oral performance. A repeated phrase could act as a signpost, signaling to the audience that a familiar theme was being revisited from a new angle. This was not about explaining things directly, but about inviting reflection. The author would present the pattern, and it was up to the listener to ponder its significance. This method of teaching respects the intelligence of the audience, trusting them to discover meaning for themselves rather than having it dictated to them. It fosters a more active and engaged form of listening, one that is participatory rather than passive. The text becomes less of a lecture and more of a guided meditation. When this detail appears, it subtly reshapes how surrounding passages are read. Not by changing the words themselves, but by changing the perspective from which they are viewed. It acts like a lens that brings a hidden layer of meaning into focus. A story that might seem straightforward on its own suddenly gains new depth when you recognize an echo from another part of the tradition. It is like looking at a familiar painting and noticing a small detail in the background that you had never seen before. Suddenly, the entire composition feels different. The relationships between the figures shift, and the mood of the scene is altered. This is the effect of these recurring details. They recontextualize what we thought we knew, prompting us to ask new questions and to see familiar narratives in a new light. They challenge us to read not just for information, but for resonance, for the subtle harmonies that connect the different voices within the text. Some scholars observe that these recurring details act as interpretive anchors. They provide a stable point of reference in a sea of diverse and sometimes contradictory material. By tracing these patterns, readers can navigate the complexities of the text with a greater sense of coherence. These anchors help to ground interpretation, preventing it from drifting into pure speculation. Others note that the meaning of these details is not fixed, but depends heavily on context and interpretive tradition. A pattern that means one thing in an early text might be repurposed to mean something quite different by a later author. Its significance evolves over time, accumulating new layers of meaning as it is taken up and reused in different literary and historical situations. From this perspective, The detail is not a static symbol, but a dynamic element that participates in the ongoing life of the text. It is a conversation piece, passed down through generations, with each generation adding its own voice to the discussion. Rather than offering simple conclusions or definitive answers, these patterns encourage careful reading, deep thought, and patience. They teach a particular way of being with the text, one that values slowness and attentiveness over speed and efficiency. In a world that often demands instant results and clear-cut solutions, this is a counter-cultural practice. It is an invitation to dwell in ambiguity, to hold competing interpretations in tension, and to appreciate the richness that comes from complexity. These details do not resolve the mysteries of the text. In many ways, they deepen them. But they do so in a way that is productive, opening up new avenues for exploration and contemplation. They remind the reader that the goal is not to master the text, but to enter into a relationship with it, a relationship that unfolds over a lifetime of patient study and reflection. If you find value in exploring these quiet connections and the subtle layers of meaning they reveal, you may want to follow the channel for future reflections. We will continue to trace these threads, not to provide definitive answers, but to foster a deeper appreciation for the artistry and complexity of these ancient writings. Our aim is to cultivate a community of thoughtful readers who are committed to patient and respectful inquiry. Each video is an invitation to slow down, to look closely, and to listen carefully to the echoes that resonate through these texts. We believe that this kind of attentive reading can be a rewarding practice, enriching our understanding not only of the texts themselves, but also of the enduring human questions they address. What do you think this recurring detail invites the reader to notice? What new perspectives does it open up? There is no single correct answer. The power of these patterns lies in their ability to generate a wide range of insights and questions. Your own background, experiences, and perspective will shape what you see. The invitation is not to find the one true meaning, but to join a conversation that has been unfolding for thousands of years. As the light fades and we are left in the quiet darkness, the question remains, hanging in the air like the dust notes we saw earlier. It is not a test to be passed, but a thought to be carried. The text has offered its pattern. Now the reflection begins. The most profound connections are often the ones we must find for ourselves in the quiet spaces between the words.